So I was forcing myself to do this video. Today on my morning walk, I was thinking about effort and its placement. Weirdly, so yesterday I was having a conversation with my partner, who's supposed to be working with me on the e-commerce platform slash store, and so the thought is giving him the benefit of the doubt. That's basically what I wanted to do. Because every once in a while, when you see yourself working a bit too hard, you kind of want to look at people and be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Right? But that's not a good mindset, and that's not a good way to actually take a step forward. It hinders you, and it makes you, from my perspective, it kind of makes you wait for something to happen for you to kind of let go of all the things that were going in your head. So naturally, my thought process was, uh, he lacks experience, and he needs to be able to build up. You shouldn't use that word, build up. But when you are under the false pretense that you know, you're under the false pretense that you're doing something. You know, but doing it is a completely different, like, effort, thought process, logic, just changes things differently. So, sorry, I have a small cat that wants some attention. But so, anyways, but the thought process is literally, how can I get to him? Because he's not doing anything. And he serves a purpose. He's kind of funding the whole thing, but he serves a purpose from the perspective of, I get to bounce ideas off him. I get to hear my thoughts in action. I get to explore more what exactly I'm trying to explain to myself. And ultimately, if I don't reach him, that means I'm not that close to it. But then came an issue. Nothing is reaching it. Yeah. So naturally, if a mathematician would come to you and start talking math, you'd think they're talking in a different language. It's the case. If a finance dude comes and starts talking finance, you look at them and be like, no, what would I know? I studied literature or philosophy, whatever, right? Like, there's a certain, like, growth in each field and a certain growth in competence that you gain in each field, the more involved in it. And then eventually it becomes like it becomes second nature to you to be able to discuss these things. Because in my head, what I want to do is I want to elaborate on whatever I'm learning in a way I actively incorporating it with my day-to-day activities. And this coming from something like, I never did this. I always thought it came naturally to me. But as natural as everything did come, everything else came with it. So it's not isolated, which means I never gave it enough attention. I never focused on it enough for me to evolve in how I learn and how I understand and how I process. Anyways, the thing that got to me that made me want to do this video is today in the morning. I remembered an anime, one that I watched a while back. One of those that you watch out of boredom, right? And it's exciting. It kind of like triggers some stuff in you. It's not like a deep anime, or it's not like one that kind of like restructures your philosophical thought of society. I've read a lot of mangas and I've watched a lot of animes. Fun fact: my starting point was Bleach, and the person who introduced me to it was my brother. Back then, he was bored. Then he started working and doing stuff, which kind of like changed the whole pattern, changed his perspective on life, and I continued with that path. I've been an anime I used to watch it before it was cool. Let's look at it that way. I used to read manga before it was cool. The last 2 years have been like an explosion in culture. But here, the anime is about this hero that has defeated the demon nation. And always there's the case where like demons are just misunderstood, human beings are scared of them. But the twist was that after he defeated the demon nation, the humans shunned him and rejected him. Why? Because he was too powerful. So all of them started fearing him and not understanding what to do. And eventually, he was basically, get the fuck out. We don't want you. We're afraid you're going to kill us. And with that, I remembered a certain episode where the demon army is being trained, but the general is losing his patience. So, why aren't you guys getting better? We need to get stronger. They might attack us again, and all that good stuff. And the hero takes him to the side and actually asks him a question. And he goes like, are they doing this on purpose? Not evolving on purpose. It's funny because it arrogantly sounds that the fault is at leadership, right? Leadership is not at fault. He was a good general. He was training them well. The conclusion of the conversation I remember was the general looking at the hero and he go like, "Oh, so the problem was not that they weren't putting in the effort, but they lacked the experience," which naturally starts me on a certain like tangent. Be like, all right, so how can we get the experience, and how am I learning the experience, and how can I kind of translate that so that he starts putting the effort that I'm assuming he's putting towards this, which we're trying to build, the e-commerce store, and seeing how far this experience would actually like take us. Fun. So I decided to have a conversation with him, and it happened today. Naturally, I failed miserably. What could I have expected, right? But did I fail because I was being pretentious? Or did I fail because I did not understand how stuck in his own ways he is, that he would not understand me? I don't know what to believe. I really don't care. But what happened was this: I tried to isolate his research towards certain tasks, two of them actually. So, at the very least, next time we're having a conversation, he'd actually have a valid opinion, which is his thought on the element, and not an actual overall, yay, I'm talking, I'm speaking, I'm like, I have a platform for me to be a boss or be a partner or run a business. Because that's what I think the problem is with like normally management. It's like working in management means you have to be able to make valid decisions. And to make valid decisions, you kind of have to like know the subjects you're making decisions with well, and be able to form an opinion in them, and it's just like overall that's the experience that we look forward to, and the experience is basically what we're grasping. And I could watch enough YouTube videos for me to realize that I know enough about something, but then when the time comes for me to actually try to implement it, I don't have that experience. I don't. I have experience in watching. I have experience in the overall philosophy behind whatever it is that we're trying to work on, but I don't have the experience in it. And thus, I don't know if there should be a conclusion, but when I set the points that I would want to achieve in order to be able to like make this into a successful business, I noticed he wasn't able to actually like point them out. He agreed with everything I said, and according to him, he's agreeing because I make sense, because that's his thought process. But it's not. It's mine. And it makes sense because I'm selling it in a good way. He's just accepting it and feeling a part of it, which is okay. But you need that return. You need that like that feedback that you look at and you go like, no, not necessarily a challenge. You just need different thoughts, different opinions. You can get stuck in your own ways very easily. And as good as I can become over a short period of time with reflecting on my decisions, I've been trying to do that for 2 years, man. Like studying software engineering from scratch and trying to build a website and a website that you want to scale and all the drama that comes with it. It's a lot of work. Not yeah, a lot of mental work. Like the studying is easy, but you kind of have to reprogram a whole lot of shit. I'm not as young as I look, but trying to restructure and organize the way your head works, the way your head sees things, is a bit harder. And I chose that path, right? And for him, he also wants it. He wants to start seeing things differently, do other stuff, feel like he's not wasting time. I knew that from the beginning. But something about the way I am actually approaching it with him involved, I'm expecting a lot more sovereignty when it comes to his position towards the business. But I know that I have to consider and keep in mind him when it comes to the position first and his outlook on that. And this is one of those positive beliefs where like the effort is being placed, but it's being placed all over the place. And I feel like I have to consider how it might actually be a good thing to reflect on how to reflect on the changes that need to occur for him not to take 2 years to start thinking about things the way I do, because he's starting from scratch. But I started from scratch 2 years ago, and I like spent most of my time trying to figure it out. And like everyone has to go through certain phases in order to cross a threshold and in order to like kind of like realize something or at least feel comfortable having some form of like discussion with themselves towards something. You have to build it up from scratch, and that's what he's trying to do. And I have to find a way to explore the past 2 years, just like more, no longer self-reflection, right? It's more reflection, more like, these are the things that happened, these are the times where it didn't happen, and how can I minimize these time slots for him to kind of pick up a bit. I don't know, just go in the direction instead of like going all over the place thinking that he is actually going in that direction. I think that's it. The conversation was about me not judging based on the actual activities and actions and like whatever is coming out of this, but more realizing like if he's true to his word, he is actually putting in the effort. It's just the effort is lacking experience. Peace out.